For today's video, we'll be covering ratios. So when we think of ratios, I want you guys to think of fractions. So it is telling us that Ralph to Susie is equal to 2 to 1. That's what we have from this information. And when we think of ratios, like I said, we think of parts of a whole. We know Ralph's share is 2 out of the total 3 that is available. So what we do is we say that Ralph's share is 2/3, while Susie's share is what's remaining, which is 1/3, because 1/3. So all we have to do to find Ralph's share is he owns 2/3 of the whole, which is 57. So we multiply 2/3 by 57. And if we do this, we could see that the answer is 38. And for the second question, it is essentially asking us for the same thing. But we have the current ratio 38 to 57 minus 38, which is what's remaining, which is equal to 38 and 19. But if Ralph gives $2 to Susie, because this is Ralph and this is Susie, then minus 2 plus 2, we get the new ratio of 36 to 21. And since it's asking for the simplest form, all we have to do is find the least common factor, which in this case is 3. So we divide both sides by 3, and we get 12 to 7. And that will be the final answer. We'll just box that. Now for the second one, we're told that Pip and Ali share $785 with the ratio Pip, Ali 4 to 1, which is essentially the same thing that we did there. So, knowing this information, we know that Pip owns 4 shares out of the total, which is 4 plus 1. So Pip owns 4 to 5. And the total is 785, which means we can do the same thing. 785 times 4 over 5. And if we do 785 times 4/5, what we get is 628. And in order to verify this, I mean, you don't really have to, but for the sake of it, we could say 628, which is Pip's share, to Ali's share is 4 to 1 to find Ali's share. So we multiply the inner and we multiply the outer and we set them equal to each other. So 628 is equal to 4a, and thus a is equal to 157. Now we take both of these values right here, 628, 157. If we do that, we can see that 157 divided by 628 gives us the ratio of 1/4. And if we add both of these values together, we get the total value, 785. Thus, it verifies the fact that Pip's share is indeed 628.
The scale on a map is 1 to 50,000. The area of a field on the map is 1.2 square centimeters. Calculate the area of the field in square kilometers. First, let's find the actual area of the field in square centimeters. For this, we must multiply 1.2 by 50,000 squared, which when using a calculator, we can find that it gives 3 times 10 to the power of 9 centimeters squared. To then change this to kilometers squared, we need to divide by the amount of centimeters in a kilometer squared, because we are dealing with an area. So 3 times 10 to the power of 9 divided by 100,000 squared gives us 0.3 kilometers squared. A car company sells a scale model 1/10 of the size of one of its cars. Complete the following table. As we can see, there are 2 blanks we must fill in. For the first row, we know that the model car has a windscreen of 135 centimeters squared and that it is 1/10 of the size of the real car. To find the area of the windscreen of the real car, we must multiply that by 10 to the power of 2, as we are dealing with an area, to get 13,500 centimeters squared. After, for the volume of the storage, we must do the opposite. The real car has a volume of 408,000 centimeters cubed. And as we know again that the model is 10 times smaller than the real car, we can divide this by 10 to the power of 3, 10 cubed, because we are dealing with volume. And that would give us 408 centimeters cubed.